It is Sunday, November 12th, 2023. I wanted to speak about a dream first in this connecting, dialoguing time I woke up with. Sometimes over the years I noticed that dreams might be tests, to see how I react or respond, what my level of fear is. And that's a long story in and of itself, how I noticed the difference between those dreams and, quote, regular dreams. But because of that, I started just noticing that myself. How did I feel? How did I do? And you do that by not working with the mental thoughts that start upon awakening, but to return to the dream state, feeling-wise, and say, what was I feeling in the dream? And work from there. It has served me well. So the actual dream was, I was in an environment where there was movement and activity that was focused, and my nephew came into the room, and I just instantly knew that his physical, it was primarily physical, his physical body was out of balance, which means everything's out of balance, right, at that point. But I just knew it. I didn't sit and think about it in the dream. I just became aware of it because I was in his field. And so when his mom and my brother came into the room, his parents, I took them aside and I said, I just want you to know that I'm sensing something that really needs attention in his body. It will show up in the body, and it needs attention. It needs healing. And my sister-in-law laughed at me, and my brother kind of just goes with whatever she says or does. And I just left the room, and it was like in the dream what I felt was, oh, how unfortunate, how sad that they won't take this insight, they won't receive it and take action. In the dream, I had no agenda. I had no attachment to how they responded. The only thing I felt was just a moment of sadness that they were still kind of stuck in, this kind of information is not welcome. It's not valued. So please go away, that kind of a feeling. And sometimes when I have a dream like this, it means that I might experience something like that in my everyday life. Or it's simply a marker for me. Like, look, you didn't react. You weren't egoically attached to being, you must receive this wisdom that I have. You do not see the importance of it. So, it shows me where I am with ego. And dreams can do that in very, very quick little snippets that you might wake up with. I recall years ago, waking up from a nightmare. I don't think I've had a nightmare in many, many years. that's a marker in and of itself. And some of those were tests, I feel, for how strong are you, how individuated are you that you can hold your own in this dream scenario, with fearlessness. So I just wanted to say that dream out loud because I'm finding that I'm not able to write my dreams so much anymore with this new training that I'm in to take in what I would have thought to be an impossible schedule with full-time work and school, really hard class that takes most of my, what people call free time. They're teaching me about the expansion of time, space, that we're not actually, that we can exist this is a kind of in the world but not of it thing. As long as we stay in that present moment flow, wherever we are, whoever we're talking with, everything can be accomplished. And things are let go of when they're not part of the flow. And so you start to trust that more than, the past echoing of you should do this or this is important, culturally that you show up here or you do that and this and all that stuff falls away. And one is just in flow. They would be in service and everything that is in alignment and supports that service now and in the so-called future or the trajectory of this intent, that which is not in alignment with it just falls away. So it's a wholly new way of existing. This is they're showing me right now. I love this when I'm just dialoguing and then, we have something to say. It is a very specialized ability, skill, that I'm not saying I'm really good at. I'm just saying I recognize that in these refined spaces, very, very subtle awareness, you are able to see how you can be in many dimensions at once. And this is what they show me is our way, not through, physical space as we see it, but this is how they show me. We tunnel through dimensions. And what this evolving is about is we rise into perceiving more, understanding more, as we let go of the wounds and trauma and past. We are able to see more and be more. And so we are practicing this. It's a movement. It's an actual movement through dimensions. And this is what the portal is. Now, I recognize that this can't really be explained. And I've made it clear recently in Light Dialogic in a few different events that, we're not in the explaining phase anymore. And it doesn't mean we don't still attempt to explain things to those who have a genuine, sincere question. We'll at least in my case, I wait for the inner response to the question, not an egoic, you know, Frankenstein-ish kind of explanation that I think, with my mind they will understand, but rather, it's when I say wait, it's not a long time. It's a tick, and then I know, okay, we're responding to this from the inner intelligence, holding my own, with what I know about who I am and where I am and what I'm doing here, who I'm being here, and not wavering, right? So this takes me back to the dream about, being judged for having this awareness and it not being seen, valued, or appreciated. Then I certainly would have nothing, more to say. But if something is born from a genuine, sincere question, there will probably be an inner response to it. And I don't have to think about what that is. It just comes through years of streaming these messages. I'm familiar with this process. So, and other members in Light Dialogic have said that they absolutely recognize this happening within themselves, that they are feeling the flow of, words to share in that particular moment with that particular grouping of individuals. And sometimes there is nothing. And instead of the ego jumping in, jumping off to the side and looking back at us and going, what's the matter? You're not, what happened to the wise one? What happened to the one who knows how to, articulate these things? And that is something that has definitely fallen away in my life. I'm perfectly fine with not responding or politely dismissing myself from the conversation, because there's nothing coming to respond to that person in my midst. And that means I'm not the one to answer this question. And so you just allow them to find that answer in another space with other individuals. And that's me saying I recognize that I'm specialized in a certain area, and I also honor that others are specialized in their areas. Some can go across the board and answer many questions. That's not me. I'm someone who meets you on the path at a certain point and says, hey, you're here. You arrived. Now let me show you what I have learned about these landscapes that you are entering now. That's who I am. And I'm not willing to, that's what I mean by I'm not going to go into the explain drain anymore, because it hurts me. I can feel it hurting me, draining me, to reach and try to explain something that it isn't going to work. I'm not the one to answer the question. Just keep looking and asking your questions, and you will get answers from people who have developed responses to those kinds of questions. So I'm just buzzing with this love that has enveloped me. So I was just feeling it. So that was the dream, that it's okay. I'm fine with the judgments, or the dismissal of or devaluing of what I offer. That's part of the journey, And this is how we navigate through dimensions to perceive more and more and more and more. It's not going to happen all at once. But it is okay. The visual images start coming so fast that I have to, what I'm being shown about, because I start to say something, that's in the territory of what they want to show me or what I want to show myself, aspects of me that are saying, yay, you're here. Here's what we want to tell you, which is exactly what I just described for people entering onto my path and asking me questions, and I just welcome them and say, oh, let me tell you about this and that. And so this is what they're doing for me. I want to highlight this, that when I step into their dimensional territory through the dialogue, through the attention that I'm giving this feeling, dialogue, and connection, then they're able to respond. And it's like, I've had to adapt to it, to regulate it, because it's all happening at once. And so the visuals are just everything at once, or the feelings that light up in my body and inform me. And so instead of getting overwhelmed now, like I used to back then, I simply say thank you, within myself, and I will start at this thread here and pull on it and see where it takes us. And then you can help me, this inner guidance. You can help me by telling me through my body if this is accurate or not. If it's not accurate, it's just a slight little, try again. And if it's fully accurate, it just flows and it keeps coming. So this is how it's done. We're not going to get in a spaceship and fly to a different planet and say, yay, we ascended. This is not what they show me about how this works. And this mapping actually is resonant with the ancient mapping that point to the stars and the sky, but they show me that it is an inner sky, an inner journey that takes us through this. Only the best word I have for it is tunnel. That we tunnel through by adapting dimension by dimension by dimension. And we do this by being in constant contact and dialogue on an inner level. So this is where I am on my journey, that I'm understanding and being shown how it works for those who want to do this. And it isn't a, yay, I'm on my journey, bye everyone. It's more like we've done this before, and I've heard a few people in my life and in Light Dialogic say that they resonate with this. They feel similarly, that this is what we do. We've done this before. Here we go. And what it is we find ways to penetrate this spell, this bubble of disconnect that is being managed by an intelligence, let's say, that came along and recognized the opportunity to take advantage of, fragmented souls that don't know, for the most part, their connection to all. They're disconnected from the field, so they are vulnerable to be controlled and manipulated. So, and when I talk like this, I'm not trying to find a match in the bubble world to prove or emphasize anything. It's rare that happens. Sometimes it needs to happen in explanation, but this is how we are taught inside the bubble to recognize the work that has come before and to build on it and offer our ideas. And so you never quite can just break out of all of that and be an original and receive the inspiration and share it. That is not encouraged at all. And they end up killing those people, right? Because they don't want that. They don't want people to remember who they are. So this journey that is possible in these window times between cycles, I could not have told you all of this even, maybe 2-3 years ago, and certainly not decades ago. I didn't know any of this. I had to grow into it. That's how I know these things, is because I'm actively engaged. And I'm in active dialogue with these beings that, quote, contacted me years ago as a child. And that even went through several versions of contact. That at this stage, even that doesn't really matter anymore. Because we're moving, once you enter this tunnel and you are being this and you are talking about it with those in your midst, then what came before it is immaterial. It is no longer relevant to the journey. But if someone genuinely asked a question about, how did that feel? Like someone who's had an experience and has not yet integrated it, they may have a question about, how did you get past this? Or how did you know to perceive this differently than what I'm perceiving it as? Things like that. Of course I would respond to that, because that is a genuine inquiry. There is no one in social media, except occasionally, very few people that I would engage in a dialogue with. They're making up stories, they're posting and things that are sensational and dramatic, and that is to get more followers, instead of being genuinely interested in how this contact and evolution works from the human perspective, how we're growing into something more. And so that's probably the biggest reason why I am not on social media. And it wasn't me thinking, I probably should drop away from social media. Yeah, I think I'll drop away from social. No. It was a movement from within me that said, we're not doing this anymore. And call it my higher self, whatever you want to call it. The movement came from inner to outer. It is extended into my world, and it is saying, this is not resonant with our path, our journey together, our integrative journey. And so when that comes, again, this is very subtle. You notice it because you've been communing with your body and your feelings for so long in the dialogue that you recognize it. This is moving through me now, and we're doing this, and we're being this. Or we're making a decision to disconnect from that aspect of 3D reality. We're not going to participate in that anymore. We're pulling our energy back, right? Because if we don't pull the energy back and we force whatever is not in coherence or alignment with our higher journey and intent, then that will drain us, or perhaps even create a disconnect again from this love and this light that is within us, guiding us, reaching to us at this time. And it reaches to those who are open to receiving and practicing what is being given, right? It isn't just this separate knowledge that we then write a book and go, there, everybody, look how profound all of that is. No, the mother's wisdom is, okay, you're receiving this, you're understanding it, you're integrating it. Please be this in every aspect of your life so that others can get a glimmer of it. Or maybe there's someone who absolutely needs to feel what you have integrated and doesn't even need an explanation. They just respond to the presence. They respond. This is the mother's way. This is how we are all doing this together. This is why we have community currently online, and yet I can see a community in New Earth, this new added dimensional experience of Earth that we try to explain. Like, how does this actually work? I would say the honest truth is I don't know exactly. I know how it works for me, but I don't know how others will perceive it that are not currently traversing these landscapes of inner awareness, right? So we're not leaving the earth. We are reintegrating these higher dimensional aspects of ourselves and manifesting it in the new sun, the new multi-dimensional earth. So we're moving with Mother Earth, who is changing and transforming, and she's asking that we move with her in our awareness and while in form, to the degree that we can. Those who do lose the body in this time, no matter who you are, no matter your level of awareness, there is, it's all frequency based. There is a rejoining with the journey, in some way, shape, or form. It's all frequency based, whether you have a body or not. We are rejoining with all aspects of ourselves, which include, those who we were deeply connected to in our lives and they moved on from the body. We may see them and interact with them again in these dimensions that we are integrating. So I do my best. To describe all that they... Actually, all I'm doing right now is I'm vibrating with this love, and I am... I start to notice how fast... Here's how I enter into it. I notice how fast the movie's going, And then eventually I notice that I'm in the movie describing the movie. And I'm not outside of it anymore. It's only fast when I'm standing, like the river. It's like it's only a raging river, like when I'm like, oh my God, I love this river, but ooh, it looks kind of, how do I jump in? And eventually you just notice, if you keep dialoguing, you notice that you're in the river and you get all this streaming information, frequency information that guides. And it's so freaking exciting and joyful. And this has been the hardest part of my life. And people will still hear me talk like this, that it's an incredibly lonely space, not from the higher dimensional realms, but from 3D, because wherever we are on the planet and in our families and communities that we were born into and evolved with in 3D, we don't always come across people that can resonate with us and give us feedback and mirroring. So here's the biggest and most important piece of finding community that resonates with who we are. If we're not being fully who we are, as much of what we have reintegrated, if we're not being that in the world, you will not see your new community. So you cannot stay with your secret information for too long. I mean, it's just not going to work. I understand the reorientation for us individually. That must take place. We must have the integration time. But there's also, then you should start noticing opportunities to stand in your truth and to be genuine and authentic with this flow. If you have generated coherency with this source field, this love, it is your responsibility to be it in the world. And so when you are being it, if that is a big next step, is to practice it and be it, no matter what circumstances you are in. Always with discernment. So this is a remembering, I was going to say a learning process. It is a remembering process of how to balance this, how to do this, how to rise into it. And this was the higher dimensional intent that poured through me to build Light Dialogic so that we could all come together and practice this together, so that we could begin to solidify it within us and say, yes, I have the markers. This is working. I'm getting the feedback here. And now I'm going to be this anywhere I find myself in the world and with whoever, like my dream and I could have not said anything about sensing my nephew's illness or imbalance in his body. But I said it, and it was okay. I was judged, and it's okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share this wisdom with you, this insight, and I'm not attached to whether you receive it or not. This is the courage we speak of and the strength of, Michael, the archangel, who has the sword and who this is what light warrior is. It's not fighting other people or other beings. It is the courage to stay strong in our conviction, our knowing of this reconnection of who we are, and not stepping outside of it and having a different persona for different circumstances, because, oh, that's not the way the world works. We have to behave like this if we're going to survive here. Well, a decision has to be made at a certain point. Are you going to, are your feet going to stay in that reality where you serve the rules and regulations and limitations of that reality? Or are you going to have the courage to break through and to be more in this reality so we can change it, transform it, help others to see that there is something more beyond all that they were told? Now this is more of a demonstration of how consciousness works when you break through to and accept it and be it. It all starts to flow, and then when you adapt to that flow, new dimensions open, and you start to see more of how it works, and more, and all of these, relations start to come together again within us and merge. And I mean, it is extraordinary. And the hard part for me, and when anyone hears me saying, oh, I just don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. Why? It's so much trust that is being asked of me, so much faith. Because when you enter and accept this kind of journey, you're 100% trusting this light, 100%. And then you notice and you feel people around you going, whoa, she's weird. Or what did she just say? This is crazy. You can just hear the chatter around you. And even just going against social media for me has created this weirdness with people of, well, how are you ever going to survive if you're not in social media? How are you going to generate a revenue stream? Questions like this, the messages are filled with information about paradox and conundrums. This is what happens. You come to each conundrum, you come to each wall, and then with your new integrated self, you break through or you transcend that wall. But if we refuse this actual higher dimensional journey, not just talking about it and mentalizing it, but actually doing it, this is our way forward. And so, yeah, it's tough sometimes. It's, we mirror for each other. In Light Dialogic, and we mirror, and I have, these same friends in an actual physical reality, and to continue to mirror. But what I'm seeing is that the more we commit to this journey, and to being it wherever we are, the more information we get. And the more that this can actually manifest in physical reality, this community. So, or communities, I should say. So much. I've only made a dent in all the data that was streaming, in the past half hour. So it's only a dent that I am able to describe in words. Of this dynamic, active, moving, creation that we are a part of. It's absolutely extraordinary. And it's always just been, ever since I was ready to end my life, and eventually and guidance came in and showed me how to connect, and then the Kundalini happened. Ever since then, one of the very first things I wrote down or was able to think after that happened was, my life is completely dedicated to informing people about what is within them. That is my life. And I've never wavered from that. That is my passion. That is my life. And I had to unpack it, and I continue to unpack it. It just gets more and more and more, and it gets more wonderful and more beautiful. And am I living in an uncomfortable space in my physical reality? Yeah, this isn't comfortable. This is challenging, to say the least. We're told that if we buy into, the revenue stream and the currency of the world, that we will have all this comfort and everything will be wonderful and beautiful. Well, there's plenty stories out there to tell you otherwise. That even the wealthiest of people suffer from the disconnect from their spirit, their soul. I'm not saying money's bad. I'm saying, that's just a stage or a phase of our evolution as we grow out of it, up and out of it, by restoring the direct currency with our first father, first mother, the source field. And so it's important that we be willing to grow, right? We're just be willing to expand and be willing to enter this journey. Or if you feel you've entered it, but you stopped, or you're stopping, you're at a stuck place, don't make that a big deal. It's not a big deal. Just go, oh, look, I'm stuck. I'm ready to move again. I'm asking for your guidance. I'm asking to feel your presence so that help me to remember the markers within me. Help me to establish new markers because I'm committed to moving and expanding now. That is the dialogue. That's it. Ask for what you want or need. But if you're being served somehow by staying stuck, that is serving you, then you will disregard the movement forward. There's a part of you that, is just saying, okay, well, I worked hard enough to get to this level of spiritual connection, or however you interpret it. So I'm fine. I did the work, or I do this practice or that practice, and so I'm spiritual. I have a spiritual component. But be careful that spiritual component isn't something that just lives in the bubble world of, some version of spirituality that is, just another egoic identification, rather than opening directly to source and saying, inform me, I'm ready. Big difference. And it will respond. Source responds to genuine inquiry, to a genuine dialogue. Source responds. And that's something I can guarantee. If you're not experiencing this, then check back in with what's going on within you. Why are you resisting it? Why are you stopping it? Why are you avoiding it? It's kind of like Kundalini when that high frequency energy rises, the goddess, the feminine, to restore and to rebalance, bumps up against something that you didn't even know was there, or you have sufficiently tucked it away from sight, from others around you, and then including yourself. This does not exist. This is not a problem. Well, when these light forces increase and increase and increase, it will show you where you are hiding things from yourself. And in the Kundalini experience, Koyopa, it's painful when it does that. And so you learn that resistance is really the biggest, the biggest issue to overcome is just to recognize that we are resisting love. You're like, oh, this is too much. I would rather just, keep pretending that this bubble world is real and, all that other stuff is crazy. I'm going to align with these people now because they give me an explanation. They satisfy my ego with explanations. And to justify hanging on to these dark parts of the self. These are the ones around us that we are witnessing succumb to these forces that attach to the dark, rejected parts of ourselves. This is how these tragic events occur because, and more violence and more judgment and rejection of the mother and the feminine. It's all here. It's all waiting for our entry into it and our acceptance of the gift of these angelic beings reaching through this portal. This is the gift. This is the opportunity. And there are, it's not just through me. I'm not pumping up what I speak of or what I do or how I see it, how I interpret it. We're everywhere. We are embedded everywhere. And so my job, I'm aware now from this perspective that part of my job was to help deliver some kind of mirroring for those who are just coming into it or just going, I've had a really weird life and I don't know how this fits and who am I and what's, they haven't killed themselves, right? They haven't suicided themselves. They're still here. It's my job to say, hi, here's a little bit of something. Maybe this will resonate with you. And it's like water. It's like food. That's just a little bit of nourishment, and they will recognize, oh, now I remember, right? And this is what I'm doing with the kids in, the treatment center, the juvenile detention system, and the ones who could not find, very high frequency beings when they come in and could not find any mirroring. They were not supported for being who they are right from the beginning. And yet we have these extraordinary beings that experience such a fracturing and disconnect from the light that they are. I don't have an agenda. I just show up every day. I'm present with them. And I listen to my inner guidance for what's important to say here. It's more about what's important to be and reveal just through presence, just through the river, the flow. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Anyway, my connecting times have kind of turned into streaming. This is the dialogue. This is what the dialogue looks like when we reconnect and allow it to flow, and we're willing to be genuine, even around the people that judge us. Thy grace is my sufficiency. So I'm just now coming back into awareness that, see, I was the stream, I am the stream, and now I'm coming back to recognition that I'm sitting in a chair with a microphone in front of me, and it's like, oh, okay, I will post this as a travelogue. And now I'm aware that this is my job. And I can't be attached to, is it working? Is it translating? I just have to let that go and just keep following this guidance. I love, love, love the original vision for Light Dialogic, and I love, love, love the people who are present and resonating in Light Dialogic right now. There's so much joy and ecstasy and magic that can occur here if we're courageous enough to continue to show up and be it. And we're doing it. Thanks for listening. I love you. I love this light that we are.